All right, so the last two books I want to do together, and the first one is Far More Terrible for Women, and then I will go over Stories of Root Work and Hoodoo. So Far More Terrible for Women, I was so excited to get this book, to hear like the stories and the things that our people, or my people I should say, had to go through and endure during this time. But for me, this book was a flop. I did not realize that it was written by a white author, and I don't know if that is really what made the difference, or if it was just it is what it is kind of thing. So the reason I'm saying that is because this author basically took stories from like other books and stuff, from slave narratives, basically from way back when. So he went back and looked at like transcripts and stuff like that, and then compiled this. He does note within the book in the beginning that he doesn't know how true these stories are, and especially like the mindset of these women, because when they were interviewed, he's saying, for one, they were interviewed by white people, so they may not have wanted to make them uncomfortable with some of the things that they were saying, and or that the white journalists or whoever, interviewers, could have put their own spin on stuff. So I don't know, it just didn't do it for me. I wouldn't recommend reading it. I wouldn't, like, if you found it at the library or something like that, go ahead. I wouldn't recommend paying for it. It wasn't worth it to me. And the stories, I'm hearing stuff, I'm reading the book, and it's just basically like like ex-slaves telling their story on when they were in slavery and things like that. And some of the women did go into detail about things, or not detail, but tell about like their masters being sorry, my phone had messed up, but they did tell about their person who enslaved them being like mean and abusive, and all the things that we know. But there were others who were making it as if, oh, slavery was just like a cakewalk, and we got time off, and we were able to do this, and we were able to do that, and our master didn't beat us, and they treated us with respect, and all those kind of things. And I find that really hard to believe, because even now, here in 2022, there's some folks who wish we could be, you know what I mean? And so I'm like, especially way back then, I couldn't see it. Now I do know and agree that some people probably didn't think slavery was okay. Like, there are people who have compassion in hearts and stuff like that. And those people more than likely wouldn't have slaves. If they thought, it was bad, they wouldn't partake in that type of thing, in my mind. If I don't agree with something, I'm not about to be, doing it or whatever just because the next person's doing it. I'm going to do what's right for me. So I just find that hard to believe. And like, just within it, it was sad to hear things, like, because they made them like breed with each other. They made them marry who they want to marry. They made them, lose their children. They made them take care of their children, and not be able to love on and take care of their own. And like, those are things that I already know and stuff like that. But it is still heartbreaking to like read and know that people had to go through that. And especially like, it of course is going to hit super home, because those were my people, those were my ancestors, and that part is just like beyond me, basically beyond my mind, beyond my scope of like, how could you treat another human this way? Like, animals at times then and now are treated better than we are treated as Black people, African American people, however you want to label it. And so that's just really, for me, heartbreaking and crazy. And then just like, even within this, like Black people calling other Black people the N-word, and saying like that life was easier or better with during the time of slavery and stuff, and that some slaves stayed and things like that, which could possibly be true. I could totally see it, especially when people have like Stockholm syndrome. People don't know what is better out there for them, that life can be different. And then for the fact that once the slave, our enslaved people, ancestors, I should say, were released, they were like still tortured and tormented and messed with and put down. They weren't allowed to just leave and go live their life and try to build a better life and, make their way. They weren't giving a even playing field. We still don't have an even playing field as of today. So, I don't know. I just didn't like the way that, this was written off. And it's supposed to be like true stories that were told from, these different people's mouths and stuff like that. But for me, I ain't buying it. And then we have this book, which is Rootworkers and Hoodoo. And I was excited for this book too. I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna get some, information. We're gonna talk to people, or like kind of like the same, like hear stories from people way back when, or whatever kind of thing, or relatives, family members and stuff. And there is information in here, but I don't know, to me it seemed like the author was biased. Like, if you're gonna go through and you're gonna write a book about this and somebody's like history, culture, whatever, then you need to be like enthusiastic about it. But it just seemed like complaints and like, oh, hoodoo isn't real. Oh, it's more of a fear tactic where if you somebody finds hot foot powder, they're gonna be so like mentally disturbed that they're gonna die. Like, I don't know, like maybe, but at the same time, like, that's weird, and it is what it is. And there's so many people that say and know and do that hoodoo is legit, and so I'm confused. And if it wasn't legit, why was it outlawed? Why were people not allowed to practice it? If you gonna tell me abracadabra and I know I'm not about to disappear, I'm not about to worry, like be like, abracadabra to you too, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And for someone to sit here and really write a book and then try to capitalize off of, a consumer like myself who's looking for information and stuff like that, that's just really awkward. It's just like they tried to downplay everything about hoodoo and root work while still giving you information. But I just did not like the tone of the book. Would not recommend it for anybody to go spend their money on something like that. If you want to read it, like, find one of those free online websites, or maybe it's in your library, or maybe someone like me is your friend and they, wasted their money on it and you want to just read it and get the little bit of information that is in there, fine. But I would not, again, waste my money on this. Would not recommend this for anybody to waste their money or anything like that. But that's just my 2 cents on these 2 books. They are a no-go for me, but hey, I got them. I tried them out, so you don't have to. Hoping that you guys are having a great week, great day, and into the next one. Bye.